Hello, hello. Welcome to Leap Taken. This is Mika, and here at Leap Taken, I talk about all things witchy, craft-related, law of attraction, manifesting, esoteric, and everything else in between. If you hear a little background noise, I got my windows open because it's actually fall here in Arizona. It's it's 84 degrees, so that's exciting here. So I wanted to kind of tap into that. Plus, I accidentally burned some dumplings I was cooking. Don't worry about it. I just stopped paying attention. I had 8 minutes and I could not focus for 8 minutes. But that's what I want to talk about a little bit. It'll tie in. So I wanted to do this video because I think sometimes in the world of witchcraft, law of attraction, manifesting, and all that sort of stuff, there's certain things that can get lost. It's certain things that are true to you, or, in my case, true to me. So I'm going to speak from my experience. I had to, and probably some leftover remnants of level up community talk that, you've heard over the years. It's okay that you like that you live in an apartment and you don't own a home. You don't have to be manifesting to buy property. You don't have to manifest to have multiple streams of income. You enjoy your job. You went to school for it, or you studied for it, or you happened into this career choice, but you really like it. You don't have a problem with Mondays. You're not one of those people. You don't even maybe work a conventional schedule. The point is you enjoy what you do for a living. Maybe you don't have a job and you're home with your kids and you guys don't nowhere near rich, not even a little bit even well off. You're not even really considered middle class. You're getting benefits. There's a lot of people that I personally know who are definitely in this particular example. You have multiple children, you have kids. Guess what? Your family's thriving. Everybody's healthy. You have a solid marriage, solid relationship with your partner. Kids are good. Things arise, obstacles, of course, but things are good. What am I really getting at? I'm getting at that I think somewhere it was lost in translation that you can't be happy with your situation. To be happy and okay with it, especially when we're talking in that witchcraft manifestation thing. Even people who don't want to, they're into manifesting, but they, witchcraft turns them off. They get all freaked out by that. Yes, even those people. Not everyone is chasing a bag. Not everybody's doing that. Everybody's not sold, got their ticket, front row seat for, the capitalism type lifestyle. Everybody doesn't want that. I mean, are we participating on some level? Of course, all of us are. We kind of, if you're born here, you kind of almost have no choice, right? However, with that being said, you don't have to go all in. Hustle culture, all that sort of stuff. Not everybody is subscribing to that. Some people don't want to be an entrepreneur. Some people just like to have a stable job that pays their bills and they got a little something to go on vacation and buy Christmas gifts and eat out every couple, once in a while. Some people are solid with that. That's goals. Some people reach that goal. I'm not talking about trying to even attain something. I'm just talking about where you are right now. And by the way, with all that said, if you're in a position right now where you are looking around at yourself, your life, where you are, how you dress, all of that, your circle, and because of so many YouTube videos and social media posts, you're beginning to question, should I be content? The fact that you're even, first of all, do you know the blessing? The biggest flex, as they say, is that you even can ask yourself that question. You're not in a crisis situation. You're not needing so badly. You actually have the luxury of just like taking a beat and asking yourself that question. You already are on another level. Let's just start there. The fact that you can have the space and the mental capacity to ask, is this okay? Is this good? Not am I okay, but is this okay? Am I doing okay? With my things and the people that I've surrounded myself with. I'm not even talking about inner work right now. You're fortunate. So you're already ahead of the game. The way I approach magic for myself, I am not at this stage of my craft doing money spells all the time. I'm not doing, I do coven work and we do overall prosperity spells. I'm not like, I'm aiming it for just keeping the flow, keeping things fluid, the currency, the current coming toward me, whatever goes out, more comes in, that type of thing. More about maintaining. I don't make a lot of money. Me personally, I don't bring in a large income. I'm not doing spells to make it so that I am. I'm not actively blocking it. Again, I do, spell work to increase currency or continue currency. Of course, if more comes in, great. But, that's kind of where I'm at with my situation. You can be in this mindset regardless of where you are, by the way. Remember those examples I gave where you're not even considered middle class, but things are good, you're happy, it's good. You got a partner you can trust, you can rely on. You're taking care of the kids. Of course, yes, it would be nice to be able to sign them up for all the things, all the activities. Sometimes, especially moms, we get that guilt that, I wish we could do that. I mean, if it really is that important to you, I guess you could do some other things to hustle on the side to make that possible, especially if you got like a kid who's super athletic. And, it costs money for them to participate in a lot of different things, unfortunately. Somebody who has they're artistic and they have, different ways, they want to express it in ways that will require money, for you to buy supplies or classes or whatever. I totally get that. That's a different thing. And that's a wonderful thing to manifest. Either the classes themselves, someone could always gift them to you. There could be a scholarship program or a means for you to pay for them. You can do spells, manifest, all of that. I get that. But otherwise, if you're solid with your life, like maybe to somebody, if somebody else was living it, maybe they wouldn't be as comfortable, but for you, it's good. For some people, stability means more than 6 figures. Let me explain. You don't make anywhere near 6 figures, but your bills are always paid. You're comfortable. It's clean. You feel safe in your environment, whether it's because you're paying for it all or you're in a situation with a partner and they're, contributing or paying for it all, but you feel safe, especially for some of us who grew up in an environment where it was never safe. Housing instability was a thing. You always was moving, staying over somebody's house, because it just wasn't stable. If you reach a point in your adult life where things are like stable, that's goals. And to anybody else looking in, they might have a different opinion, but for you, that is, you can't buy that. You know what I mean? Well, you can. You need money to have stable housing. But you get what I'm saying overall. It's not so much about a salary, it's about a state of being. And once we kind of get into it, allow yourself to think more like that, you don't have this weird chasing bag complex going on as much. Your spell work gets different. This is something I've actually done. This is something I've sat down and thought about years ago because I was in a place of more of a need. There were so many other big money things. I had 2 kids going to college at the same time. We did not have a college savings plan. And only one got scholarships, but it wasn't enough. The other one got no scholarships. So even though they got money from the government and we borrowed, or in their name they borrowed, I still had student loans at the time. We all basically had student loans. The new kids were incurring them. So we were not in a situation where it was like, oh yeah, it's no problem. We just pay for everybody. By the way, we also were strong believers in our kids not, do what we had to do, work 2 jobs and try to go full time to college. That didn't work out so well with me. Did not work out well at all. I know my husband would tell stories. He would fall asleep trying to work an overnight job, something he did during the day, and take classes all at the same time. It was a lot. Like, we couldn't repeat that. But we didn't want our children to go through that. Like, we don't have the attitude of, oh, if I did it, then you can do it. No, I don't want them to grow up like that. So what did we do instead? We didn't require our children to work in college. So not only did we have to pay the difference in bills, college bills, two kids, we also supplied them with money so that they could live. So all that was happening and, maintain our own existence. It was lean years. It was hard. And even before then, it felt like it was hard. The point is, I was doing money spells because more than anything, I didn't want my kids to just not be able to finish if they chose to finish. Now, in my case, one of the kids decided to go in the military. He didn't want to stay in school. In the other case, my daughter did having to take a year off. All on us, not her. She's like an overachiever, very smart. She graduated. She's awesome. It was all on us not having enough money. So I'm doing spells on spells on spells for money, prosperity. And I don't need $500 spells. I need $10,000 to pay off her debt so she can enroll again. You know, I need another $5,000 for him for that. Then I need to be able to give them at least $500 a month, you know, just so they could have, you know, want to eat or do something like that when they want. Per child. Like this is what I'm manifesting, that kind of stuff. I didn't even get to myself. Like that's the kind of money spells that I was doing. You know, when I think about that, and I had to reach a point of really soul searching, I had this really big problem of always thinking the rug would be pulled out from under me. And by always thinking that, it really was. I was excited to see my children start college, but inevitably, deep down, I always thought something would go left, and it did, each child. I was putting that energy out there, and it was reluctantly so. I was aware that I thought like this, I was. And I would cry about this. Like, I hated that I couldn't seem to get a handle on this way of thinking. But I mean, I had to start with forgiving myself. Years of conditioning made me think like this. I was conditioned to always think what they call that scarcity mindset. I grew up in basic poverty, I grew up in the projects. I was surrounded by that way of thinking. So inevitably, you know, I've spent a lot of my adult years trying to undo certain types of thinking that were going to be unhelpful to me in being a witch. And it doesn't come up until, unfortunately, things happen like this type of situation. So ultimately, what changed? What was the big spell that made, you know, what was the ritual? What was the thing that I did to make it all change and that money just started flowing in? I forgave myself for how I thought. I learned to speak with the universe and ask and truly believe I would receive a whole lifestyle, not just money for this, not just money for that. I manifested a lifestyle. And that lifestyle meant I wouldn't be in that situation again. Just a couple hints on how that worked out. I started learning about mantras. I started learning about saying more affirmations. Had I always heard this? Yeah, but I didn't actually do it. I started learning about mantras specifically, you know. I looked into like, you know, all different cultures and, you know, how they approach things and saying things, you know, Ganesha. I didn't set up an altar, do this whole thing, but I started, you know, just dabbling a little bit more and a little bit. I was an eclectic witch at the time, at least, you know, I was still calling myself that. So a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and just studying and just understanding this whole prosperity abundance. So yeah, I started looking into other places because I wanted to do something different. So I wanted to maybe, you know, different with myself. So I had to think different. To think different, I had to maybe go to other different places, different ways of doing things. And I sort of really started opening myself up to it. And tangent alert, you can do that without appropriating. You can do that without changing your entire life's mission, goals, spirituality. You can study other people's cultures and their spirituality, and you can use what resonates with you to help you overall. There's nothing wrong with that. Basically, I opened myself up to different thoughts, different ways of thinking, which was key. That was important. And I was open to it. So once I started doing that, and this is not something I did like in a day, like, or in a couple weeks, this was over a period of time. I want to say since when I started months, then I started asking the universe in a different way. I told you I manifested a lifestyle. So to manifest a lifestyle, you gotta get in. You gotta vision board, visions. You know, you gotta use your imagination. And it's not something it's not a one and done. I would think about this stuff before. One of my favorite ways to manifest, if you're gonna do the thing where you're kind of imagining the life in your mind, and envisioning, imagining, the same. And you feel all the feels, you feel the experiences as you envision them and imagine them. For that, I like to do that at night before I fall asleep. I like those to be my last thoughts. I think that's a very positive thing. I'm sort of imprinting it on my psyche. Energetically, I'm like fueling myself with this imagery. And subconsciously and consciously, because I'm aware I'm doing this, but subconsciously also, which is helpful, I'm going to make sure that this actually comes into in my real life. This becomes my real life. So there were certain things I wanted to see. I wanted to see a certain environment, a certain aesthetic. I live it. I wanted to look a certain way. I figured that out. And yeah, I figured that out. It's a whole thing. It's a lot. So that's like the outward stuff. You know, then some people say superficial. The car I wanted to drive, all that sort of stuff. I'm doing it. Just fun fact. Stay with me. But a lot of people, it stops there. They don't think about the other stuff. What's your life like when you wake up in the morning? How do you feel? What do you do next? Do you think about that kind of stuff? I started thinking about what would my life look like. I knew that my work would be creative and I knew it would be at home. Now, there is a part of my life now where I am working for a corporation again, but I still do creative work. I'm still building that. That's still very important to me, and that's still happening. So I basically just added on because that's just life. Things, you can manifest things, but there could be other caveats or other add-ons that come along with it because circumstances change in a way that you don't know that's going to change. So yeah, I have a corporate type thing. It's all working from home. So I still never really deviated too much from it because my goal was to be at home working. Whatever work I, deemed at the time, whatever I was envisioning. The point is I'm at home working and I'm at home working. Money. I wanted money to just come and flow. I didn't want to always feel like I'm hurting. Also spending. I wanted to spend money. I wanted to spend money on myself. I wanted to decorate the way I wanted to. I didn't want to think about money. Now, when I mean think about it, like I didn't want it to hurt every time I spent $1, and I didn't want to feel guilt every time I spent money on something for myself or something for the home or eating out. I didn't want to constantly budget for it and have to worry about where it fits in the budget, I didn't want to do that. It's not about being rich because it's not like I wanted to spend with no cap an insane amount of money. I'm not going to places where I'm spending, like I'm going to Hobby Lobby, guys. Like I'm not like tripping on, I'm going to Michael's, I'm talking about, blowing a bag at Target and as a bag is $150. Spending $150 at Target on a Saturday without remorse. Like those were goals. And knowing that 150 didn't have to, go someplace else. It's not for me. I think the issue is not that I didn't have access to money. The issue was divvying that money up to all these other responsibilities that were blaring in my face, red alert, we have to be paid. I didn't want that. I wanted to just needs are taken care of, and I have leftover money to do things I want to do that kind of make me happy. So I had to believe that that was possible. And this is, a lot of people they struggle with this. It's like, well, I believe it's possible, but I still don't have it. Do you really? I'm over here doing like serious self-analysis, shadow work, if you will, to wrap my mind around why I'm in these unfortunate positions. And then more importantly, why do I assume I will be? Why is it not a surprise? Why do I almost expect it? The fact that I'm expecting it was part of the problem. But then I had to break down, why do I expect bad things? Why do I expect hiccups and obstacles? It doesn't mean I'm smart or I know more than everybody else. I'm not intuitive in that sense because I'm not sensing, I'm planning for it. I'm thinking about it. Even though I'm planning for it, I'm still not planned for it because I couldn't figure out how to resolve these issues as they were happening. It's a whole lot of work that's involved with really getting out of a place of always having to do a $500 money spell. always having to do a get my rent paid spell, get food in the freezer spell, that sort of thing. It's some work that comes with that, but I used to always hear this thing, in order to make a change, you have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. And for a lot of us, you get sick and tired of always needing, always being in a place of need. It's exhausting. The answer is not to just give up. The answer is not to just imagine and fake it till you make it. That's not what I'm talking about. There was some magic. I'm talking about the conceptual ideology I had to adopt, but along with that, there were rituals. There were rituals I did during the full moon. There were spells. There were charms. There were things I was doing when I would put oils on myself. There were things I was saying to myself. There were times I just sat and I allowed myself to just weep and to cry. And the fear that was involved with just afraid of not having enough and just releasing that energy, that wasn't a one and done. That happened sometimes unplanned. I remember working a spell to get money. It was a legal thing, but I wanted that money. And it took a minute, but it happened. When it happened, I was like, that person said they were never going to pay that. They said they was never going to do it, and it got done. And it was money coming in. They had to do a settlement, and they had to pay it in payments, money that was owed to me. Years went by, many years went by, but that spell worked. And I thought outside the box with that one. I worked with a spirit I'd never worked with before, and I've never worked with since because I needed that spirit for that thing. I'm not going to just be doing something all the time, and it worked. It took time, but it did work. I just feel like, and I'll finish with this. I just feel like if you're watching this and things feel good, everybody say things can be better, but it's good. You comfortable for the most part. Of course, who wouldn't want more? But you comfortable. You're not out here struggling, it's not like that. Everybody's eating, y'all, you put clothes on your kids' back, you put clothes on your own. You spend a little something here and there, you make it rain at the Dollar Tree, whatever your life is. The point is, it's okay. It's good. It's okay that it's good. You don't have to be doing a manifestation spell. You don't have to do a new moon intention to ask for something that your heart's not really even in it because it's really good. You can start doing gratitude spells. And the thing about doing that, and this is what I'll finish with, is because next month I'm going full gratitude with videos and how in practical ways and how it works with magic. But anyway, when you show up in that energy to the universe, when that's what you're vibrating, that's what you're giving off, people just can't stop helping you. People, that's you're in line at Starbucks because you treated yourself. You already had a gift card that someone gifted you, and then somebody people pay, the car ahead of you, and then they pay for you. Stuff like that starts happening, or you thought you heard the last of the stimulus checks and another one comes up and you're getting it, or state income tax or something like that, where it's like, I thought, oh wait, we got that? We got extra couple hundreds on there? Just stuff like that where it don't really make a lot of sense, is out of the ordinary. People are, and it's not always just cash money, it's other things like a babysitter. You know what, y'all need a date night. Your mom is being more generous than usual and go ahead and actually, let you drop the kids off, that kind of stuff, or his mom, or you guys know what I'm talking about. Like things like that. You got a free trial and the trial didn't stop when it said it was, and got to enjoy something a little bit longer. Prosperity, abundance, that sort of stuff. All of a sudden you have access. And it just flows. It's just happening, and you're just living because you're in a place of gratitude. You're vibrating in a place of, I'm good. And guess what? Things can still be good, and sometimes you're still challenged. Sometimes there's money things that occur, and when that happens, isn't it wonderful that you do witchcraft? Isn't it wonderful that you can do a spell? You see how that's a different mindset? than being in a place of thinking every month you have to do a rent spell. You always do a $500 spell. You always do a spell to put money in the freezer, and a refrigerator. You see what I'm talking about? I just position this example out where now you're here. I'm not saying that things still not going to happen financially, but isn't it interesting how in that place, think of the energy you're working with. If you stayed with me through this example, if you're all the way at the end of this example I gave, think of the type of energy you're working with now versus then, where you're always feeling, that's all I'm saying. And I kind of stand by this as someone who was in a place of need, of need, because I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. I was skimping on taking care of things, screwing credit up, all that sort of stuff, so that my kids would be okay, and and also so that we would be okay in the process of doing all that, late on everything, It's taken me years to get that situated, and I'm still building it back up again, that sort of stuff. But I'm okay. I'm more than okay. It took time. It took a certain mindset. I don't have those same fears anymore. I'm good. Life is good. I know life can be great. It's not always about money, because for me, I just know that everything's provided for, always. Like, I know everything's always provided for. I don't stay in a place of how I'm going to do. No, it's going to be provided for. I don't have to worry about that. And if this environment changes and it can't be sustained, then I go someplace else where I can sustain it. See what I mean? It's just a different mindset. And that's all I got. Let me know in the comments how you feel about this subject, how you feel about this manifestation movement that we've been seeing over years, ever since Law of Attraction and The Secret came out. And this notion that you're always supposed to be kind of wanting more, which definitely fits the whole capitalism and all that sort of stuff, that whole machine. If you disagree, let me know. I'm curious. I want to know. Anyway, I'll end it here. Thanks for watching. This is Mika, Leap Taken. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share. And as always, thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.